Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the state of Ohio, dedicated in 1803 as one of our newest states. I'd like to welcome you to the Beedle House, and at this time I'd like to introduce Mr. Hoyen, who's going to talk a little bit about this house. Thank you.
And I would like to ask a round of applause for President and Mrs. Madison coming all of this way, both distance and time, to visit us today. Thank you very much, Mr. President. 226 years ago, almost to the month, the Beatles built this incredible structure. And this journey has been a long one, and many people have been involved. And we promise to keep this dedication short and sweet. We want to do that. It's a unique structure, and the Historical Society and the generous donors who have supported this effort are giving this as a gift to the citizens not only of Lebanon but of Warren County. The ideas and the tenacity of many people are tied up in this building. Uh, from a former president, Bill Dooning, who steered some of the early uh, machinations to get this thing going, to our former director, Victoria Van Harlingen, who managed to make sure this building was saved for posterity and worked out the donation of the building by the state of Ohio to us, to the city of Lebanon for providing this incredible site, for the Lebanon Public Library for allowing us to sort of abuse their campus from time to time as construction went on. How many, I would like to know today, of the Beatles or the Lytells are with us, who are descendants? Raise your hands. That in itself is quite amazing. We want you to enjoy this frontier fair that spreads between here and up at Glendower Mansion for both today and tomorrow. I want to introduce to you somebody that everybody here knows. It's our esteemed historian, John Zimkus.
Thank you very much, Mike. William Beedle, Beedell, was born in Passaic River Valley in northern New Jersey, now not too far from New York City. His name changed quite frequently. He and his wife, Esther Littell, moved to Los Sanibel, the first name of Cincinnati, and they were recorded as being there in 1789. By that time, he was spelling his name Bedle, Beddle. When the Treaty of Greenville was signed in August of 1795, Beddle and his family, he was in his late 50s, early 60s, his 5 adult children and their families all headed north with a surveying troop led by a Captain John Dunlap. They left on September 21st of 1795. They followed Old Harmer's trace. General Harmer, in an ill-fated campaign against the Native Americans in 1790, left quite a path with his almost 2,000 soldiers going through the area. They broke away and they settled and they built a blockhouse, a mini fort, if you will. The Treaty of Greenville was only a month old. Whether or not the Indians would keep the peace was not known. So this was the first blockhouse and the only blockhouse in all of Warren County. It was about 1.5 stories high and about shoulder length. You could project a musket or rifle through it. He bought what is now Section 28 in western Turtle Creek Township, all 640 acres. All 640 acres, okay. It was $250, or about $2.56 an acre. Now, $250 also back in those days would be about $4,000 on what you would get today. All his children, 5 daughters and 1 son, had large families. It was quite well known. From 1795 till 1805, if you're coming south from the Dayton area, what is now Shohan Road was Beddle Station Road. If you came north from Cincinnati, The old Cincinnati-Lebanon Pike, which is now Old Hamilton Road, was also Battle Station Road. Uh, they were all members of the Presbyterian Church. The Turtle Creek Presbyterian Church was established just north of that in 1798, and it was one of the most influential churches in what is now southwest Ohio. It was a well-known community. It is considered the first community or settlement in Warren County. So what happened to it? Well, the Shakers came in 1805. This benign group, which we often think of twitchy religious chairmakers, if you will, but they're far more than that. They came and they had a great influence on the Beedle family. Two of his daughters and their husbands became Shakers. His only son became a Shaker. Between 1810 and 1820, there were a half a dozen or so mob actions or police actions against the Shakers, often with Beedle family members being on either side of the ruckus. He wrote his will in 1812, and he died in January 30th of 1814. In his will, he set aside 100 acres for the two daughters who did not become Shakers. To the two daughters who married Shakers, he gave the 100 acres he would have given them to their either children or nephews. And so he had all divided. All he gave to the members who became Shakers was $5. So he definitely feared them. By 1820, people were moving away from the Shakers. Some of them moved away because they became, some of them sold the land because they became members. Others sold the land to get away from them. The problem with the Shakers is that they were separatists. And being separatist, they were somewhat secretive. And being secretive sometimes leads to rumors. What's going on over there? By 1830, none of the people of the immediate Beedle family were still on Section 28 land. It never became Shaker territory. Sometime 180 years ago or so, the man who owned the particular cabin we're talking about here decided to expand it, and like many people, he renovated it by making additions. And this cabin became swallowed up in the cocoon of a mid-19th century farmhouse. It stayed that way for 180 years, used well into the 1980s, and eventually became property of the Lebanon Correctional Institution, the prison just west of us. They contacted us in 2014, and they said, we've got an old cabin. Would you like it? And so we took a look at it, and it was falling apart. The sun was now hitting what was once the cabin for the first time in 175 years because holes in the roof and what have you. And we sort of thought, well, we can't do nothing with this. Then at the same time, Jack Hedges, wanting to honor his beloved wife, Wanda, who had passed away, wanted to put a cabin somewhere in Lebanon in honor of her. And he was talking about going to Kentucky. And then our director, Vicky, said, well, I've got an idea for a cabin. There's one only 4 miles west of here and has historical significance. And so that was the beginning of bringing it over here and reconstructing it. And over time, as Mike alluded, it became far more involved than any of us ever thought it would be. The expense, the time-wise, the whole thing. But more and more people were enthralled with the idea of having the Beedle cabin here. We're not quite sure just yet which one of the, we do believe it would belong to one of his children. I'll tell you right now, it's either James Beedle or Jonathan Davis, who's married to one of the Beedle daughters. What is interesting, if it's either one of them, they eventually became Shaker. So there are people who are very interested in the Shaker history of this particular cabin. So it opens up a lot of reasons for exploration. It opens up a great deal of pride because of its historical significance. And we are so glad that all of you can be with us today as we once again bring light to the Beedle cabin from 1795.
Before this project started, my hair was brown. Thanks, Vicki. I want to introduce to you a man with much patience, and our board president, Todd Yohe. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Michael and John, and certainly on behalf of the Warren County Historical Society, I want to thank all of you for your commitment and attendance this morning. As Michael said, and John mentioned as well, there have been some challenges along the way, but certainly we have persevered with the assistance of many, and that is a wonderful thing for our community. You know, for some people, this was a labor of love, and it certainly should be that. But for others, it's a labor of hope. And that hope lies in the mission of the Warren County Historical Society, which is to preserve the history of our county and our communities, and to spark interest in local history in our young people and our generations to come. And so our hope is that this cabin will start a conversation between grandparents and parents and children, that this cabin will become a school project down the road and be the subject of school projects, that this cabin will become the lyrics of a song or the words of a poem, or perhaps the inspiration for a painting. All of those things that tend to live on and preserve the history. And so for everyone who has been involved in this project, from the donors and Vicki and past and current board members and Michael, the builders and the volunteers who have brought us all here today, I want to thank you, the board wants to thank you, and certainly future generations of this community want to thank you for what you have done here today. So I would like for your next round of applause not to be for me, but to be for all of those people who have been involved in this project, and we thank you very much. Michael?
Thank you. As John mentioned, we couldn't have even moved one log without the generosity of Jack Hedges. And I think Jack deserves a round of applause in a respect and appreciation. It's incredibly important. Another fellow came into my office not long after we started the project in earnest, and he said, you know, my father was a history teacher for many years, and I'd like to honor him as well. And Robert Bogenschutz made a significant contribution as well to the cabin and its well-being. The list will be revealed on a plaque that we'll be placing here in about 3 weeks, so we have a facsimile of it here. But I also want to thank Architectural Reclamation, Bruce and Susan and Andy Stewart, for their expertise and persistence. There were days of rain and mud and freeze and thaw that I never thought anyone could work out here at all, and sure enough, they'd be here. And it was amazing to watch them piece this thing back together like a jigsaw puzzle. I want to also thank Scott Norris for all of his guidance and contribution and expertise, and John Stegmuller, who spent 10.5 hours last Saturday morning, along with Scott, laying this floor, and then came back on Monday to do another 10.5 to finish it out. Absolutely amazing. There is someone that I would like to introduce to you that we're very, very proud of to have received a contribution and support. She is Kathleen Dixon. She is the state regent of the Daughters of the American Revolution.
Good morning. I'm very pleased to be here today representing the Ohio Society Daughters of the American Revolution. Since 1890, the mission of the DAR has been to promote historic preservation, education, and patriotism. The Historic Preservation Committee seeks to honor our nation's heritage, focus on the future, and celebrate America. Through the Historic Preservation Grants Program, NSDAR provides financial support for local community projects which exemplify the Society's historic preservation mission. Up to $250,000 is awarded annually through this program with a maximum grant of up to $10,000. The Beedle Cabin was awarded a $10,000 grant. The Turtle Creek chapter has been successful in sponsoring 2 of 3 grants which were awarded to Ohio projects by the National Society for the 2021-22 year. One we are recognizing here today with the Beedle Cabin, and another will be honoring Patriot John Scott next spring. The Beedle Cabin project is a wonderful way to fulfill our National Society's fundamental mission to promote historic preservation and to demonstrate what DAR is all about. Thank you to the Warren County Historical Society, the citizens of the county, and the Turtle Creek chapter for preserving a bit of our national legacy. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, we have 3 things left to do. The Native Americans are going to perform a blessing ceremony on the cabin. We're going to unveil the plaque and have a ribbon cutting. So I'll turn it over to the All-American Drum Circle.
We you, who you dear song, Neela. Beautiful, beautiful Creator. We thank you. First of all, I want to give thanks for the day, for the beautiful things that Creator has created. A lot of things we take for granted is why we can't get a lot of things accomplished. We forget who's in charge of the winged people, the 2-leggeds, the 4-leggeds, the fin people. We give thanks every day and our life goes a lot better. I know it does for me. I don't have as many ailments. We're asking Creator today to bless this place and to all the people here, all the works that they put into it. We're asking Creator to keep us healthy and to love one another. We're asking Creator also, if we could just be more like Him, if He could touch our bodies and make us more like Him. Think how beautiful of a place this world would be and the things that we would get accomplished. I guess what I'm trying to say is, if we'll put Creator first, God, Jesus, Grandfather, I've heard Him a lot of things, and He's all those, the Alpha, the Omega. I love my God. And we sometimes forget to put Him first. All of our dreams and all the things that we want to come true will come true. Maybe not in our time, but in time. So Creator, we're asking you to bless this place, all these people, to watch over our elders and our grandmothers, our grandfathers, our babies, our men and women that are out to war, and all those people that put out the fires and come when we wreck and all these things and touch us. So once again, we give you all the honor and the glory, and to ask us to help us in each and everything that we do and every day. And we love you and we honor you.
Thank you. Thank you. If we can get it all together. Right there's fine. Jack, would you do the honors?
Well, good deal.
I would very much like you to do that.
Glad you chose a simple job that I could handle.
Well, here we go.
What do you just
Would you like to speak, Jack? Yeah, go ahead. The mic's on.
Yeah.
Hold it close.
Yeah. It's tough to follow John Zemkes. He's the legendary historian of Lebanon. And he's a real asset. We've all met him, and I keep telling him to put it in writing so it'll preserve into the future. My remarks will be brief on this locally historic occasion. A lot of history here. And we need to be thankful that we can do it. And I know that those of you here have a total interest in history, or you probably wouldn't be here. But it's very, very important. I'd like to thank all those of you that are here and have come out on this special occasion. Number one, I'd like to thank all the donors, the people, and there are many. Some probably have received little or no credit. But that they have contributed in time, labor, talents, and their monies and that type of thing. I also want to thank the Warren County Historical Society and its members for being very supportive, encouraging, and long, and especially Vicki. John took a couple of my remarks because Wanda and I had talked about doing a log cabin and thought that Lebanon's perfect historical community. Let's find a good place for it. Had no idea of this. I was familiar with the Beedle family, but I didn't even know a cabin existed until Vicki mentioned up, and right away it just meshed. That's it. Well, this is what we're going to try to do. And as Mike has said, it's taken much longer and involved much greater effort than anyone had assumed or thought. I've always been interested in history, old buildings, antiques, and things. And when I went to college, I majored in political science, thinking that I was going to. My intention is to go to law school, which I did, but my minor was history, whether it's local history, American history, international or foreign history. History must be preserved and remembered, and we need to learn from it, and sometimes we're kind of getting away from it today. But and then finally, I just want to mention Wanda. Many of you knew her. She was a lifetime resident of Lebanon. She was a registered nurse by profession. My wife, the mother of our children, so kind, caring, considerate, helped so many in she did a variety of nursing things, and one of them was school nursing, and she always reached out to the students out of her own money, which many teachers have done, and we thank them for that, buying them a coat or underwear or socks or things that, or food, something to eat, and this type of thing. So she was just so kind, caring, and passionate about so many things and so many people. And so I think this is a proper way, and I was looking for a proper way of honoring her and trying to remember her, and also benefit the community, which would have been very important to her. So here are the results, and gosh, Vicky and Mike made it happen, and I can vouch, his hair was black or dark. And but we made it, Mike, and just staging this and having the dedication that you've had has been wonderful. Took a lot of work and a lot of planning. So all you in the community, use and enjoy this cabin, and for the benefit, it's good for the library, reading classes, or individual meetings and things. You'll need to work that out with Mike, but just use it and enjoy it. And when you do, just take a few seconds to remember and thank Wanda. Thank you very much.
Just wait a minute. The chamber, Angie, Todd, I'd like Todd and Jack to cut the ribbon. Yeah. I saw those scissors with Andy.
Who else wants to?
You and Todd?
Todd.
Oh, Todd.
There you go.
You don't understand, sorry. Yes, you. Yes, you here. Cut it. Are you going to do it? You give the signal.
All right.
1, 2, 3, cut.
Yes. Now, ladies and gentlemen, enjoy the Frontier Fair. Thank you.